Hello everyone, welcome to yet another session of a webinar from Nous Infosystems. This webinar, brought to you by the Test Tree Business Unit of Nous Infosystems, will talk about the business acceptance testing and its challenges in the context of portfolio and fund accounting systems. Today, I'm your host. My name is Buddhadev Dasgupta, DEB for short, and I am the COO of the organization. I am fundamentally responsible for all lines of delivery for the organization. I will be joined in this webinar today by Shanmuga Rajan. Shanmuga is our functional and domain specialist on fund accounting systems, and he will take us through this session on specific challenges in the context of business acceptance test with respect to fund accounting. Before we get on with the webinar session, let me talk about a few hygiene factors very quickly. All participants would be in the listening mode only. If you have any questions, feel free to use the question panel in the screen at the right hand side. We will take on these questions and answer them as we reach the relevant section of the presentation. If there are some questions which cannot be covered during the presentation, we will take them as a separate session at the end of the webinar. Due to paucity of time, if we are unable to take a few questions in the Q&A session, then we will take them through email and respond back to you. Thank you for joining this webinar, and I hope you have a good and exciting session as we follow through. To take you briefly through the agenda of today's webinar, we will be talking about, as an introduction, some of the concepts related to BAT or Business Acceptance Test, why it is needed, when it is done, and what are the key objectives from doing a BAT. And then we get on with specifics on fund accounting, the testing challenges, the overview and the processes associated with such testing, the business-centric validation. We get on with points of automation test opportunities in the area of fund accounting. We go on to talk about BAT strategy, planning, execution, and final acceptance, how test acceptance accelerators can be brought into play, the risks associated with the testing approach, and finally we round off with a set of recommendations. So business acceptance testing, in fact, it seems to be another form of acceptance testing. So what's the difference? Basically, when we are talking about acceptance testing, we are essentially talking about an application or a system built which needs to be accepted after ensuring that it is aligned with the specifications for which it has been built. Acceptance testing can essentially be split into two types. The first one and the more common one is the user acceptance testing, which is essentially done by the business users of the organization that has outsourced an application to be built by somebody, or could be insourced to another group within the organization itself. But essentially, they are the final users of the system, and therefore are entrusted with the responsibility of ensuring user acceptance. The other form of acceptance testing is the business acceptance testing, and it is not very common to come across a very well-defined business acceptance testing in all application development scenarios. What is then business acceptance testing, and how important is it? Basically, when any application gets built, it is built towards meeting certain business objectives, while an end user who's going to use the system is entrusted with the responsibility of doing that acceptance. But the builder of the system also carries some form of responsibility towards ensuring that the business perspectives or the business objectives that the system started off with are also met as the development cycle gets done or completed. So business acceptance test, therefore, is a form of testing that is done by the development team where a strict compliance with the stated business objectives of the application when it started off being built are ensured or validated. When we talk about BAT in investment products, what do we actually refer to? Who are the people who do it? Business acceptance testing is actually performed on a system that is completely built, that is baseline, that is integration tested for all its components to be working in tandem, and is almost ready for being handed over to the user for the final acceptance test. It is at this point in time where the business objectives of the application that had been identified when the system was being conceived are evaluated for adherence. So this is something which is done pre-UAT. It is done by the development team, but it is actually sort of conducted by the subject matter experts or the domain specialists that form part of the core technology team, who also help in defining the functional characteristics of the system, and therefore are the best people to establish how these functional characteristics have been met in the final system that has been built. The acceptance criteria and functional tests are obviously prepared in conjunction or in consensus with business, the business system analysts, the development and the testing team. So the entire set of people that are responsible for designing, building a system are essentially the core part of a business acceptance test. So what exactly is the need for BAT? I mean, why do we at all need when a user is eventually going to do a user acceptance testing anyways? It is to ensure that what is being handed over to the user is functionally accurate. It exactly delivers the stated business objectives that were defined in the initial phase of the application lifecycle. It not just matches the functional requirements, but it actually goes deeper than that in terms of understanding whether very specific characteristics like system throughput, by system straight-through processing, the business process involved in the application process flow, all of it is actually exactly met. It is a way to build confidence in meeting the industry demands, the regulatory requirements, the specific external needs that an application has been set forth with to comply. It gives greater compliance to regulations, primarily because it looks at the business objectives, one of which or fundamental of which are regulatory compliance. So basically the need for a BAT therefore is to achieve a final goal of a system that is functionally capable, a system that exactly emulates the business objectives that were set forth for the system to achieve, and finally delivers business value as conceived. So a very quick look at the V model and where does BAT fit in. Basically BAT or business acceptance test essentially starts off right at the point where functional specifications are deliberated upon, written down, being created, because that's when the business acceptance test team or the subject matter experts start visualizing the end business objectives of the application, put them down as test cases, test scenarios, and even sometimes test strategy, because certain objectives are driven also by business strategies. And that's where a BAT strategizing begins. It works peer-to-peer across all application lifecycle as a system flows through its build process, and finally gets done before the system is actually packaged and sent out to the user for final user acceptance testing. So it's the other arm of the wheel, which basically sort of finishes off in a BAT before it is actually released to the final customer for user acceptance. With this, we come to the next critical part of this webinar, where we talk about specific testing challenges in the context of fund accounting applications. And at this point, I would like to hand over the speaking forum to Shanmuga, who will take you through specific challenges related to this aspect. Thanks.
Thank you, Udit. So, as we have been understanding through the course of conversation, speech from there, like what it is BAT and where it is linked and why is it required for fund accounting application. We also need to understand that there are certain challenges in validating and verifying certain fund accounting and portfolio accounting applications practically. So why these challenges? Basically, fund accounting application is has interwoven set of applications or modules, closely connected modules within itself. And by its inherent nature, the business itself has its own challenges, which is very much linked and interconnected, or it's flowing down as a testing challenge at the end of the day. So starting with ever-revolving dynamism in the financial services industry, whatever we saw 5 years back or 3 years back, to be precise, we do not want, or that doesn't work in the financial services industry, right? So we need to keep updating our processes. We need to keep updating our methodology in validating, in delivering the best of the best to our customers. Readiness of test data and long test cycle time. This has been an intricate challenge or an unforeseen challenge. We think that we may be hands-on with our test data whenever we are approaching our testing cycle. But practically, this is a very difficult case. We may be running short of some of the inputs at any part of the life cycle of a fund accounting application. We may be lacking enough data, enough set of test data, and the test cycle time itself would be longer than the time what we had been expected. So because of that, you will also have crunches. You will also face time crunches in delivering your test report. Defect management. Defect management process for validating fund accounting application is a little bit complex when you compare with other applications or other standalone applications, because again it involves handing over and taking over process from one module to another module, like trade inputs, flow through reconciliations. Your validated trades get in as stock reconciliations. These trades have to flow through to the reconciliation module. Your reconciled stock should come into your portfolio. So whenever you have a defect in your trade input stage, and if it is not properly managed or if it is not properly regulated or validated, it will have all its effect carried over till computation of NAV or even publishing your report, right? Similarly, exploratory functional testing is not everyone's cup of tea into this area of business. Functionally, I may be aware. Functionally, I may be competent to test the requirements, but there are certain exploratory testing that needs to be performed. I have to do a kind of articulation, do a kind of thought process validating my testing methodology, business acceptance test process. Rather than thinking from why perspective, it's more about thinking from why not. Why not it could be done in this way? What would happen if I do it this? what would happen if I break my system from this point of view. So that is more about exploratory testing. So this is again a challenge where many of us, due to, again, like, it's not that we don't know, maybe because we may be running short of time or for any other constraint, we may restrict our exploratory tests. Again, your metrics has to be robust. Once you have a robust metric, automatically this would translate into your process improvement both at the system side and also at a operational and at a business level. So this is again inculcating a steady or a stable metric which would show where you are lagging or where you are doing good, would help you to alleviate majority of your business problems. Another challenge is scalability of the system and validating the ecosystem of the fund accounting application. What I mean by ecosystem? Ecosystem is the interacting handoffs or interacting parties with the fund accounting application. It's not a standalone application, as I said earlier, and as we understood. It has inputs from its prime brokers, custodians, fund administrators, and investment managers. So everyone, and any form of input or every other kind of throughput comes into from different participant of the whole process. So that is how you need to validate from every other participant's point of view and see that the system on the whole is working as fine. And finally, most importantly, strategizing your test plan. Strategizing your test plan again involves a lot of changes. It has its own dynamics. You may forgot a particular work package, or there may be something coming in as a requirement at the last minute where we may not be comfortable in taking it up for testing. So all of these have to be properly handled, and if not, it becomes a critical challenge where we end up in losing out in not properly validating these fund accounting applications. Okay. So moving ahead, I'm giving you an overview of the fund accounting process as such. It all starts with your trade capture, where you capture your trades, I mean, through a manual trade, which may come through a blotter from an investment manager, or you may even have an automated trade input process, which will make sure that all your trades executed on a particular day flow through your fund accounting system or trade capture module. So once this is done, we will see the intricacies, the nitty-gritties of capturing trade in the next slide. This is a very high-level overview. Post this, you have your order management, where you ensure that the captured trades are settled without any fails. Once the trade is settled, your portfolio is reconciled for all of these parameters. Your cash with your bank balances, stock, which is basically depot reconciliation, forex reconciliation in case if you do cross-country trades, which obviously would be, and the market value reconciliation. We'll see some of the examples how to do, I mean like screenshots how these are being done. So once you do your reconciliation, you proceed to compute your net asset value, which is very famously called as portfolio computation, very broadly, which includes fee calculation such as admin fee, audit fee, management, performance fee, and high watermarks. So all of this, which finally leads to net asset value calculations. So post calculating and arriving at your unit net asset value, you generate your attributes, attribute reports, performance attributes, P&L allocation. So all of these are being done. So this is a generic high-level overview of how a fund accounting is being done at a system level, right? Maybe some application will have each module to do all of this. Some of these will have its own way of moduling these business activities. So the business process at a level down than what we saw earlier is here. So basically, where does it start from? It all starts from the research report that is being published. Based on the recommendation from the research reports, the trading desk, basically the investment managers, arrive at a decision to buy or to short sell a particular share. The sale is being confirmed, which becomes a confirmed order, where the broker or the dealer confirms the set of order to the prime broker and to the custodian. And also the trade capture ensures that there are no exceptions. The trade capture process ensures that there are no exceptions where the trades are being corrected and again flown in back to the system. So post this, we take care of our settlement, corporate actions and reconciliation activities, where your middle office or back office activity starts. Then again, it's computation of your NAV calculation, fee computation, publish your net asset value depending upon the fund, whether it may be on a daily basis or on a weekly basis, and you generate report. And wherever you have a discrepancy on some of the activities like settling your failed trades, ensuring your corporate actions like dividend follow-up, bonus follow-up, a rights issue. So whenever you have a discrepancy, which is a break, you reconcile and get it back to the portfolio without any exceptions, right? So I've given some of the points where some high-level tests are being performed. Like what, if you see near the fee computation box, you can see it's basically for the functionality of calculating the fee for each and every level. We also validate at the back end the database, how the database is interacting with the user interface, the UI. Similarly, at the time of trade capture, you make sure that your file uploads, the batch process are being functionally validated, the integration is at its best, there are no loopholes. So all of these are being validated at the fund accounting business process, through the course of the business process of the fund accounting application. Now, let us understand some of the key business points which we need to functionally test at each of this business flow. So at the time of setting up your trade capture, before capturing your trade, you need to set up your data, which may be your master data and reference data. Master data are something which is like a dynamic and which we flows through the activity of your stock markets, right? And reference data or static data would be more of a non-dynamic nature, like setting up your portfolio, maintaining your holiday calendar, OTC over the trade counter setup. So all of these needs to be ensured. So all of these individual or sub-level activities becomes a critical business point for you to functionally validate. What do you mean by functionally validate? You need to validate a static data maintenance or a static data or a holiday calendar. Say suppose a Brazilian holiday calendar, you need to create a test data by uploading a Brazilian holiday calendar and validate it practically by seeing that is there a valid holiday coming out of the application as we set up. So that is on the validation of a data part, both on the static and on a market data. Market data can be validated from your validating any of your portfolio for its daily high, daily low, 52-week high, 52-week low, from counter checking with any of the leading vendor applications like a Bloomberg, like a Reuters, or anything for that matter, right? So once you validate your data management, you also have to validate the trade capture part, which is on the automated trade capture. You do it through a batch upload, a file upload, file transfer, and then you also validate some of the manual trades by manually entering the trade level details, the execution price, the trade date, the settlement date, all of these. You also have to validate some of the pending trades. Assuming that these trades are going after the market hours and these are not getting properly validated. I mean properly getting executed, right? So once you validate your trade capture, you go ahead to validate your reconciliation part, which is basically on the cash, which is between the investment manager's books and the books of the custodian and or maybe for the prime broker. Cash reconciliation, trade reconciliation, the position or lot, in case if it is all the trades are done through lots, you need to validate your lots, whether all your methodology, lot methodology are working fine, your first in first out, the last in first out methodology, all of these have to be validated. Then you also ensure your trial balance, the net asset value, and finally the profit and loss are being reconciled systematically and functionally in a very corrected way. Pricing and valuation. So once you validate your reconciliation part, you come to your back office or portfolio valuation module where you price. See, this pricing part can also be done on a master data pricing. It can also be done at a valuation part. Some of those OTC trades which requires a daily pricing, which requires manual pricing, may be done at a back office. Then you have a comprehensive list of prices where you validate, where you upload these prices for yours as part of your test data and ensure that these prices flow through all the stages of the life cycle of the application. Then you load the derivative prices, which is again not the market traded. Ensure that your portfolio have been properly validated. And then finally, you also validate the flash P&L generated from the system. Right? On the accounting part, the portfolio valuation part, there are some other points, because valuation is something which is very critical to this line of business, which will ensure that the net asset value do not go haywire at any point of time, at any cost. So what are the factors, what are the points that you need to ensure? Some of the points are post-execution trade processed. Whatever the trades that have been executed, you validate that post the execution, the successful trades. Then you have a validation based on multi-currency or multi-base processing from different geographies. Derivatives accounting, currency, then your investment, partnership, tax lot, fee or expense, accruals, and finally your daily net asset value, daily or monthly or weekly ones. You also validate some of the reports by generating it, seeing that whether the daily position, the flexibility of the reporting, whether it is required in the morning, the noon and the evening at the end of the day, all of these flexible parts have been properly coming out from the system. The financial reporting according to different compliance, different regulations from different geographies have to be customized or have to be ensured that these customizations are correct. Right? So here are some of the business-centric validation of the deals. Business-centric in the sense it's a functional or more from a business point of view. Say suppose if you want to validate your market value, you are taking the quantity and price and validating the market value, amount of the market value of the particular security. Similarly, you validate at a portfolio level. Say suppose one fund may have many portfolios, different portfolios in it. You will have to validate the portfolio and ensure that your master portfolio or the final one is resembling or is being fed through your sub-level portfolios. Right? And you'll have to ensure all the functional values are verified and validated. Then you validate the same portfolio, breaking down into transaction level validation. Validate every transaction that it carries a proper value and there is no mishaps happening anywhere. Batch files for your trade uploads, for your reconciliation process, in case if there are any FTPs, in case any COA files to be uploaded, you validate all of these batches are flowing through and its timestamps are very correct as and when it has been updated. So you'll have to have a deep eye in validating these batches. Otherwise, you may not have a latest of the file and you may end up in reporting a older net asset value or taking an older calculation for reporting. So that's a big loss for the business. So finally, you also ensure that the trades are correctly entered or functionally correct in the system. Let us take an example where settlement cycle, you are validating a settlement cycle. In case if you are in Asia, majority of the trades get settled in T+2, rate plus 2 settlement cycle. Whereas in case if you are in the United States, it takes 3 days for a trade to get settled. So this is how the functional knowledge or the business application of a tester comes into the picture, where he needs to ensure that all of these factors have been properly set up. The reports for its performance attributes and the allocation of portfolio. A portfolio may have certain percentage allocation. Say suppose depending upon the geography, depending upon the sector of investment, it may have its own allocation. So all of these allocation have to be seen and ensured that the real portfolio has the proper allocation aligning to from its report and from its dashboard. Right? Okay. With that, we'll go ahead to understand what are the different or what are the key areas where we can think of automating these test scenarios or high-level test areas of this fund accounting application. One, very basically, you can ensure that your holiday calendar for across different countries, across different geographies can be set up and it can be validated automatically without any manual intervention. You can validate the trade details. If your automated suite is robust, your regression testing for validating the trade details need not be complex. It can be validated within a few hours, depending upon the size of the portfolio. Then the whole module of reconciliation can be automated by breaking in the components, by breaking in the functionalities, by breaking in the business points that is being required. Then again, the fee and the expense module, and finally the allocation, how the profit and loss is being allocated to different investors. Again, it depends on size of the fund, right? You may wish not to even automate this particular module, but depending upon the size of the fund, there is a possibility that there is a high level chance that this can even be automated. Okay, so now let us understand how you can carefully plan a proper business acceptance test strategy. How can you plan the same? Not only plan and execute so that the best results are being derived out. The high level activities are, you need to have a end-to-end product knowledge. you have to be involved as a business acceptance tester. You have to be involved, or you have to create a business acceptance test plan, immaterial of a project test plan. It will have its own system and system integration and operation acceptance and other test plans. So business acceptance by its own should have a test plan, like how it should be approached and what are the schedule, what are the milestones, so on and so forth. You will also have to carefully design your test cases. A report format have to be structured. It has to be documented, maybe in a SharePoint or on a weekly or monthly or whatever convenient reporting time. Most importantly, the defects found during this stage, whatever the defects it had been going through, have to be critically tested, or it has to be critically fixed, and it has to be retested for its validation. Only then the sign-off would happen. So what are the deliverables? Deliverable from a business acceptance tester's point of view is a business acceptance test plan, the test cases, the test steps with all detailed functional valuations. Say suppose if you have to calculate the market value, the formula involved have to be part of the test step written for a business acceptance test case. Then finally the test summary report at the end of the cycle, business acceptance test cycle. So when does a business acceptance tester enter to test this application? Right from the stage of finalizing the business requirements. I'll start to write a test case, identify the test scenarios, finalize the acceptance criteria for business acceptance test, load the environment, complete the system and integration testing without any showstoppers. I should make sure that the integration is at its height. There are no lags in the integration. I should not have another system, or I should not have any other system not integrating with each other, whichever is being required for all of these modules, starting from your data management to trade capture to reconciliation and finally calculating the net asset value. So when do I come out of the business acceptance test? Once I have validated all of these and come out with a test summary report, I'll give a go or no go decision from my point of view on the functionalities, and finally I will say a business acceptance sign off. So when does it becomes an acceptance? Only when I'm sure that the functional values are being met. The functional values for the system have been developed have to be necessarily met. I have to be very stringent on these acceptance parameters to make sure that the system is working at its accepted business requirement levels. Essential calculations have to be compulsorily validated thoroughly for whatever reasons, and no excuses whatsoever. So these are the two major things which I have to keep in mind as a business acceptance tester. So what are the attributes that we go in for a business acceptance test acceptance? Functional correctness, accuracy, data integrity, integrity of the data, conversion of data from one module to another, ability to take a backup and recover the same, competitive edge, the competitive edge of the functional accuracy, usability of the modules, performance, startup, stress factor in the application, the reliability, maintenance, robustness, compliance to different regulations, scalability, and finally I should have a documentation. Why documentation? This documentation may sometimes prove to be an input to the system users, because I am at a very high level and I am the first-hand user who is testing the application from a business perspective. So I may run through this document to a system user, to a user who may use it as a user document, help manual, right? So what are the common risks while validating a functional fund accounting system from a functional standpoint? Basically, I may have domain-specific resource, but I may not have a resource, I may not have a person who will be exactly knowing the regulations, who will be exactly hands-on into the business of validating functional fund accounting application. Sometimes I may have an unstable VAT environment, which means an integration issue, which means there will be some development going on, which means my defect process may be a little bit complex where I have to follow through, so on and so forth. Then, as usual, the test data. Because of the time crunch, because of the lack of time, my test data may be inadequate. I may have an frequent releases, frequent builds from my developer. Because of that, the software version I may take in for business acceptance test can go wrong, incorrect software version. So I'll have to be very careful in validating my software version, taking up the latest software version. And finally, I will have to emulate all these scenarios in a production environment. I will have to get all of this into a production environment, which is a big responsibility from my side to make sure that there are no lapses. So we thought upon this and have come across to develop a business acceptance test accelerator. So what are the important things? What are the valuable things that needs to go in to become a test accelerator for a fund accounting system from a business acceptance standpoint? First, I need to have a test data. I need to validate all my regulatory check across different geographies. I should be proficient enough in performing an exploratory test. Similarly, my regression have to be at its optimal. Maybe I can think about optimizing my automation opportunities here. Again, test management, like what we spoke about. You are managing your defect management or your test data. All of these have to be ensured that it is at its best. Knowledge management, collaboration. There it comes the product knowledge, the KT, the knowledge transfer, the training part. And finally, your metric management, the daily reporting, the defect follow, closure of the defect, retesting, revalidating the defect. So once all of these go hand in hand, so all of these when go hand in hand, it becomes an efficient and an effective test accelerator, which is what we have been providing to some of our esteemed clients. So let us take a sneak preview of a test tree's quality assurance approach. So like what we discussed, we have exploratory tests to be performed for all our fund accounting applications, ensuring that all the functional metrics are being met, functional calculations are being validated. We also ensure that whenever we have a patch release, it does not have an interrupted flow. Because of the criticality, the application should not be lied down, should not be brought down even for a half an hour or for an hour or so. So in that way, your patch release has to be efficiently managed such that it does not interrupt the production environment in case if it is an enhancement project. Flexible test bed, the test beta, where we have a complete end-to-end test requirements, understand the test data at every critical module, and we make sure that these are available from time to time. Tool standardization, we have some of the tools at a automation perspective, from performance perspective, and very recently into the mobile testing, mobility part, where we make sure that the tools which we provide are standard and are not away from the market standards. Then finally, standardizing the process and making it as a very robust one for testing a fund accounting application. So when you do all of this, what happens? Obviously, you increase the satisfaction of your user, which is the paramount objective of this particular activity. Reduce risk of regulatory and other compliance. You are sure that you are validated from your regulatory check perspective. You save time for all migration stages by automating some of the routes. Your project success gets increased, which in turns, which is an effect of an increase in the productivity. And finally, the reputation of the business is at its heights. Okay. So over a period of time, while performing and validating all of these functional acceptance or business acceptance tests for fund accounting systems, we learned some of these important points which we thought that we would recommend or suggest or share it as a best practice to you. The most important thing is, please do not underestimate business acceptance test as a week's activity or as a small time activity. It has its own criticality, and understand and respect the criticality to yield the best benefit. As I said, it has its own cycle to perform testing. Whenever there is a defect found in the BAT, business acceptance test stage, it is really complex to fix, and many times there have been additional delays because of this. Focus on testing. Focus the testing from a requirement standpoint. Understand the requirement, understand the functional requirement, specifications, and create your test scenarios and test steps or cases from a requirement perspective for a good success. Plan acceptance when preparing requirements. As I said, it has its own linkage to the previous point. Please monitor your schedules and milestones very carefully and very minutely, because there are quite a number of slippages which are possible to happen whenever there are no proper and no minute monitoring of scheduling. Most importantly, you communicate your progress regularly to all the stakeholders, because everyone is involved. Everyone is eagerly waiting to know what is happening at the business acceptance testing. Because if I find a defect which is very complex at a business acceptance testing stage, it has to run through from a basic design stage. There's a possibility that it will has to be going through from a high level or at a low level design stage, and it takes its own sweet time from a design team, from a development team, from a unit testing, system testing, and a system integration testing. So every other team is being waiting bated breath, saying what's the result is going to be. So that the communication becomes very, very important for all the other stakeholders in the technology. Include all the stakeholders at every stage of progress of your business acceptance testing. This will give you clarity, confidence to the stakeholders. Set the expectation with the vendor. Whenever you are working as a third-party independent verification and validation provider for this fund accounting system, please set your expectation saying that this is how it's going to be, and these are the time limits, these are the functionalities, these are the criticalities, these are the system level checks needs to be going in. So let the vendor or let the user be clear that it is going, because of this it's going to take time, or it's going to come out at a later point of time. Otherwise, he may be in a hurry to give a release, and he may not understand the underlying purpose, or he may be thinking that the business acceptance team is not efficient enough to perform its tests. So this is again back to communication part. Include all the stakeholders at every stage of process and communicate the progress, as I said. So that is what it is, and it was a very nice, great experience for me to present this webinar, to share my experiences of validating and verifying the fund accounting applications to you all. In case if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask me.
Yes, hi Rajan. There's a question from David from Franklin Templeton. His question is, how do you automate corporate actions in fund accounting?
Okay, so thank you, David. Thanks for the question. So basically, corporate action is a very critical function which cuts across through different modules of the fund accounting application by itself. Starting from your reconciliation to your portfolio validation, which is the most critical modules of the fund accounting application, corporate action has its own significance. So as I said, while identifying the automation opportunities, you will have to ensure that what are the corporate action and what are the activities of corporate action that you are going to automate. Starting from your dividends to rights issue to bonus issue, whatever may be the corporate action, you need to evaluate functionally, and you will also have to technically validate the systems, which were, system solutions where you are going to automate this. This may be a commercial tool or it may be an open source. There are like open source tools like Selenium where we can build upon a good and a robust system of automation suite to automate corporate action. So that is what we from Testtree have been doing to many of our customers in building or adding up some of the basic features to its to Selenium's basic features to provide it such that the regression suite is maximized and it has maximum coverage of testing opportunity. Right? So was that okay?
Yeah. The next question is from Mark.
Answer your question.
Yeah. The next question is from Mark. He's from UBS. The question is, what are the tools used for automation, open source or commercial?
Yeah, as I said, we have commercial tools such as TestComplete, or open source would be basically from Selenium. Selenium has a great source where it can support any platform or where it can build its own regression suite, and it can be a robust tool for its many of your functional points. And you have Neoload also for performance testing, where you can use it as a tool to ensure that the performance of the application is quite good.
The next question is
Any other
from
question?
the next question is from Ryan, Northern Trust. The question says, you were mentioning about ecosystems. What do you mean by ecosystems in fund portfolio accounting?
Okay, so basically ecosystem for a fund accounting application or the fund accounting business by itself, the ecosystem means the interactions, the stakeholders, the external stakeholders where it gets interacted. Say suppose a fund accounting application may have or will have interactions from a third-party fund administrator, from a prime broker, from a custodian, and from an investment manager. So all of these parties put together form or create an ecosystem for the fund accounting business, which is like an outcome of our the fund accounting system itself.
Okay, we have another question. This question is from Josh from Fairwind Funds. The question says, should a test manager own BAT or should there be an independent BAT manager?
Okay. So the question is basically like, if I'm understanding right, the question is basically like, should there be a separate manager managing BAT, business acceptance test, right?
Yes.
Okay. So from my point of view, I would say it is very good when we have a separate lead or a manager by itself will be managing or owning the responsibilities of business acceptance testing. What I mean by saying this is, as a test manager, I will have different responsibilities from different testing cycles or test stages, be it like a system testing, be it like a system integration, operation testing. So it ranges from different modules. But I may be technically competent, I may be highly proficient from reporting and other stuff, but to ensure that business and the functional points are correctly validated, I need to be hands-on both from the technology side and also from the business side. So in that sense, I would recommend someone who has hands-on experience or a blended experience of functional fund accounting and also into some of these systems would really take through. So to answer your question, I would like to have, I would recommend or suggest to have a independent business acceptance test lead, which would ensure that the business acceptance test is very good.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host, Deb, back again. I hope you've had an interesting insight from this webinar in the context of business acceptance test and its challenges related to fund accounting systems. We've taken a few questions. Due to paucity of time, I'm afraid we won't be able to take on any more questions online. If you have any questions that you have asked which have not been answered or would wish to ask, feel free to write back to us and we will revert to all your questions via email. Thank you once again for joining us on this webinar. And this is your host, Deb, and Shanmugarajan signing off.